So actually, that would be a tremendous help to me if you came, so that we could take some of the driving. Yeah.
Okay.
Just no crashing. No crashing.
Yeah, you can't crash. You can't.
No, I
curb
told
the
you,
car.
I'm on the schedule. You know, the schedule is I get into a very bad accident, and then I get into another accident within like 2 months, 3 months, and then I don't get into an accident for like 10 years. So I'm all good.
I was thinking even, while we're in New England, that could give us the opportunity to lay down like a couple of episodes.
Yeah, we just need to give Lauren some pain medication. Let's get Lauren all fucked up on pain meds.
She would have been
again,
real
that
funny
was
last week.
freaking hilarious. I don't even
It was
know
out
what
of her
story like you were telling Andrea, but Lauren was like, like just so shocked, like and just like, oh my god, like.
I had like very regular, ordinary kind of conversation.
Like,
I was like, I want some of that. Can I?
Yeah,
have
I
some
know.
of
I was like, this is
that will
fun.
make my day better right now.
Hopefully we get a little of that here today on this episode. Yeah. I think we should get this started. This is cue the music. This is Robert and Kalyn Get Rich. You are listening to episode Lucky 21. Yay. Today is September 11th, not always known as the luckiest day on earth, but if you're James McMullen, it is your birthday. Happy birthday, nephew
birthday,
James. We are Robert and Kalyn. I'm Robert Kimmel, your host. This is Kalyn Kimmel, my sister and co-host. We are joined today for our special Lucky 21 episode by Her Majesty, the Queen.
God. I wish I could curtsy right now. I need
I'm embracing you all with my presence.
Andrea is here to talk about life and fitness and money. But there's one thing she's not going to talk to you about, nor will Kalyn or I. What was it, Kalyn?
Financial or investing advice.
It always seems like you're surprised when I ask you this question. So maybe by episode 33, we can.
I know. I was like thinking I was going to say something about Mexican candles, but then it didn't fit. So yeah, whatever. Anyway.
If you're one of the first-time listeners, you're going to have no idea what we're talking about with Mexican candles, but that's all right.
That's most
Hey, and listen,
show.
one other thing we'd like you to do, if you would, first time or otherwise, would you go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to us, leave us a comment, send us an email, and forward this episode.
Friends.
That's it.
Share
send
with
it to everybody you know. We begin our episode today with looking at the Get Rich portfolio. It has been a rough day in the stock market once again. Our portfolio is no stranger to downside here. We are down 4.6% lifetime. It is not looking too good.
You guys should have bought Starbucks when I was pimping it.
Yeah, Starbucks. You're so right. Starbucks up about 25%. We will consider that for next time, babe.
Can we talk about Starbucks for a second?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay. Right. Well, here's my thought on Starbucks, right? You guys, I listened to your episode with Frank last week, and you guys talked a lot about personal finance and decisions and spending and all that good stuff. I think Starbucks is what started everyone's bad decision making on how to spend money day to day and what makes sense. Like a $7 drink every day of the week, sometimes 2 times a day. I think it just opened the can of worms.
I was just saying to my friend, I cannot fathom a world in which I go to Starbucks every day. First of all, I don't care about coffee very much, but even if it was something that I did care about a lot, like Mountain Dew Spark Zero, I still wouldn't go drive through every day and spend $3 to $8 or whatever it costs now.
So you don't think people splurged before Starbucks? They didn't have that?
No, it's not. No, it's Starbucks made people feel like they had to have this $7 cup of coffee every day or twice a day. And that started the snowball just rolling down the hill, right? Now it's, I can't live without my Netflix, without my Hulu. You know, it's all the subscriptions. And then during COVID, they got used to having everything brought to them, right? So the amount of money spent on stuff that we didn't even use 20 years ago day to day is shocking. Shocking.
I definitely agree that convenience is king with spending. Lots of people drink a cup of coffee every day. Moms drank 2 cups of coffee every morning since she was, 12 or something.
She was 4.
But it's Maxwell House. It's Maxwell House out of the tin can.
Right. And she would never go to Star. I've given her a couple of gift cards that I've ended up with or whatever. And they will go and they will usually find some sort of special going on at Starbucks and get that.
It's funny you mentioned the gift cards. I remember as a kid, obviously gift cards as a gift were way less common when we were kids. But I remember when I did get one, I would just be like, oh God, I've got to save this. I don't want to spend it.
I still do that.
I remember chaperoning a church trip as like a teenage volunteer. And as a thank you, they gave me a $25 Blockbuster video gift certificate. And I was just like, I got to save this for a special occasion. I can't just spend this down. So,
and then they close their doors.
Well,
and you still have the $25 gift card.
No, you're exactly right. That is, in fact, one thing I learned from Andrea, which is like, you know what, dummy? The next time you go to Blockbuster, spend the card. You don't have to spend more than you otherwise would. You just spend the gift certificate.
I got 2 Papa's restaurant gift cards, $25 each. They remain in my wallet to this day.
Do it.
Yeah.
Use it. Enjoy it.
Man, I wanted to get Papacitos the other day and I got online and I couldn't believe how expensive this stuff is now. I was like, man, even with my $50 in gift cards, like that their beef fajitas for 1 or for 2 was like
$24.95.
No, like 40 something dollars. 40.
What?
Yes. I was like, man, I'm just gonna heat up some of these beans in the pantry. I also think that there's something in us about the like saving it for a special occasion. I'm out of control with that. When I went to Japan with Mom and Ariel in like 2008 or 9, I brought home 1 bottle of sake that was a $50 bottle of sake. Pretty nice. I have yet to open it. When I bought my house, Adam was like, do you think we can open the sake? No. How about when I sold the house? This is not special enough of an occasion. I don't know what I'm waiting for. It's not even going to be good anymore.
So I've learned a little bit of that from Andrea. Like, yes, on occasion, you can buy $300 worth of podcasting equipment. It's not that big a deal for a one-time purchase. I'm like sweating. Oh my God, can I spend $300? Meanwhile, she'll go to Marshall's and spend $300 in a blink. Although most of it gets returned, in fairness.
That's right. It's got to survive the at-home try-on,
which is a brutal weed out process. By the way, this is like making the pro football team from the walk-on squad. So I was thinking back to the Frank episode too. He had that $1 million retirement number. And we were struggling with the math. And so I went back and I ran the spreadsheets and I was like, okay, what is the annual savings number to get to $1 million at a reasonable rate? The short answer is $20,000 a year for the 22 years that we said he had left till retirement. So if those guys can figure out how to eke out $20,000 a year, which I would think is pretty reasonable. Also, they didn't start at 0. So their number is even lower.
Right.
You know, I know he said he's already saving in a 401k, but I wouldn't think the 401k would get you to $20,000 or anything like it.
So, I mean, most employer matches are somewhere in the like 4 to 6% match, right? Or something like that.
That's kind of been declining over time, hasn't it?
So
it's either like 0.5% up to 6, or it's 100% up to, or 50% up to 6%, or 100% up to 3 or 4%. Yeah,
I hate this kind of thing. This sounds like some weird word problem where it's like I got too many grapes and need to like trade for peaches. I hate that shit.
When a train 200 miles away pulls out of the station.
Yeah, you're like, oh fuck, I don't know. They're gonna run into each other somewhere in the Midwest, and everybody's gonna die. It's gonna be bad.
Hey, I take exception to that comment.
Well, it would be Ohio. Ohio's was the last major train derailment. Was in what was it, Palestine?
Yeah,
or whatever it's called.
Yep, that's it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's the bottom line. If I was gonna implore one thing for our listeners, it'd be whatever that company match number is, put in at least that. That is like free money at an incredible rate of return, 50% or 100%. You're just foolish to turn that money away. You will never miss 3% of your salary. Just put it in the 401k.
Yeah, 100%. I've actually noticed I don't notice a lot more money than 3% when I like just automatically like move money or whatever. Like I have some automatic savings plan that I started ages ago that was like every week move $100 here or what. I have never noticed that. Never. Right. Honestly, I think that's how I paid off most of my student loan debt. Because when I think about it, I'm like, I don't feel like I like worked all that hard to pay that off, you know? I mean, I did, but like there weren't a huge number of big chunks. There was at the beginning, I got a sign-on bonus or whatever, and so I put a lot of that money, but that's when it was so big that it didn't even matter that I put like 10 grand to it, because I was like, great, now it's 95,000 instead of 105,000. Fuck. But you know, but the rest of it was just like adding extra, like paying more than whatever they wanted.
Andrea went to a women's retreat this weekend. I thought she might
Oh.
tell us a little bit about what went on.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it was really cool. So I met a really cool woman in business here in Cleveland, and we got to sharing our stories. And she's like, "Oh, you should come to our Breathe retreat." I was like, "Oh, what is that?" She said, "I'll send you the special link." So I'm thinking, "Oh, this is interesting. It's not public." So it's at Camp Robin Hood. So it's women going back to do camp-like activities that you did in 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. So everything from
Ah.
archery and
You did
riflery
some
to
basket
pickleball.
weaving?
There was arts and crafts class and woodworking, and it was a blast.
That sounds so fun.
It was
Yeah,
fun.
that sounds awesome.
See, when it was called Breathe, I thought it would be like
meditation camp.
meditation and
Yeah.
yoga, and they
Well,
like
we did that too. Yep, they brought a yoga guru out from Cleveland that we happen to know.
yeah, but I thought they would be like there'd be talks about like
Yeah, we had
you know-
talks, we had lunch and learns, and yeah, we had it all.
Oh, it's sounding less fun as you go on.
All right, so did you come back a changed woman? Have you rethought anything in life?
Oh, actually, I saw that the theme was live your legacy, right? And obviously, having sold the company, I'm wondering what's next. Have
Yeah.
I made a big enough impact? Am I done, or do I need to do more? Do I need to work? So I thought, oh, perfect. I'm going to be able to go and figure that all out. I did not figure it out.
So that's the coincidence. Coincidentally, I still am confused.
I made lots of friends. I met some really
That's
cool women
great.
that I want to see here in Cleveland, and I made wishes. This is so cool. There was a woman there, Alexa Fisher, I think is her name. She used to be an actress. She was on Bones.
Oh.
One of the loveliest auras I've ever met. You know, when you just meet someone and you're like, I love your aura. She was happy and warm. She was very, very inspirational. So we did this visioning exercise, and when we were done, we had to get what we saw in our visioning exercise on this beautiful parchment paper in red marker. And then we took, I don't know if you guys can see this, but we took the sheets and turned them into these beads and then made another bracelet. And so, man, I am just going to manifest all this amazing shit that I want to happen in the next year in my life.
You know,
I'm
it's kind of
happy.
like weirdly giving me Nexium vibes. Like, no, I'm nothing like that, but it's just like this Hollywood person who kind of chooses to go elsewhere.
Here's the funny thing. I kept asking people at the retreat if they had followed any of that story, only because people kept asking, oh, so how did you get invited? How do you know Jamie? And I thought, well, could this be like the Nexium cult? Like people vetting other people and then saying, oh, you have to come to this great place. And so it's funny you bring that
work
up.
your way up on the scarves, like get your next scarf color so you can become a whatever.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Elder.
ask if you came home with any brands from Camp Robin Hood. Did they brand you anywhere on your body?
No. Just wish beads. This is the brand.
My favorite line from that whole discussion was you manifesting shit.
Yeah. I'm manifesting shit 2024 into 2025.
Well, I'll tell you what you are manifesting that seems to be your post-work legacy is doing volunteering very intensely for other people's projects. So the other thing Andrea's got going on in spades is this fundraiser. So tell what all have you got going on with the Parents' Night Out fundraiser?
Well, a friend asked if I would co-chair the Galentine's event that we attended last February that we had a blast at. And I thought, yeah, I can help you with that. That sounds like a lot of fun. Then we go to our first meeting in August and we find out that the Galentine's event was an oops last year. They were supposed to put on the annual Ladies' Night Out event, which is a night of shopping. So lots of vendors and wine and holiday shopping. And it's like the main fundraiser for the Parents Association every year. But let's talk about why the event planning isn't going well.
Okay, yes.
So vendors used to love these kind of events. In the evening, pay a little fee to get in, $100 a table. And then, you've got these well-to-do women shopping for the holidays, spending oodles of money at your booth, right? How can you lose? except they don't have people to work for them at night anymore. Post-COVID, people don't want to work at night. So that's frustrating.
I read this as like the economy's still doing pretty well. If people aren't willing to work in the evenings, you know that the jobs market has got to be doing pretty good.
Well, and you don't see the store owner saying, oh, well, I'll work the event because I'm so desperate for sales.
Right. Yeah, it's just been an incredible time suck, though.
I have never felt more like I want to run away to Montana than I do today.
Because of this podcast right now. Like, get me out of here. I have to leave this state.
A lot of our listeners comment that very thing in the comments box. So.
Yeah. Almost every day since we sold the company, I don't know. I just need to be somewhere else where there's no people, no stress.
An alternative is when people come and ask you for help, you could say no.
I could.
I was thinking about the employment market thing a little bit with those people not wanting to work the booths. And once again, reflecting back on the Frank episode, I was thinking, these people that read anuses for fortune telling, how do you like decide that's your career direction? And like, did their guidance counselors
path of least resistance?
That's the path. That's where you land.
To butthole fortunes.
Is it like the family business? It's passed down through generations. Because like the first job at Dairy Queen opens up, I'm giving up the whole butthole reading thing unless it's incredibly lucrative. I don't know.
I can't speak to the butthole business, but
you do services and stuff where you're like, I wouldn't want to do this job.
So like, I mean, Erin does tarot card reading at markets, right? And she'll do exactly what you're talking about: pay money to go have a booth at a place, and then do tarot card readings. I just can't think of anything worse to do than doing that. Even on the times where she makes money, which there are occasions where she goes and she pays money to be at these markets and then doesn't come out on top, which I'm like, well, now I don't know what you're doing. You've lugged hundreds of pounds of crystals and whatever around. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of that. And knowing Erin, she probably is not doing a great job tracking how many of these things are hits and how many are misses, and so therefore how much is she making an hour? And
at all. She just wanted to do that. But now if it was that you had to look at people's buttholes to tell them their fortune, I don't know if she would have been so keen to sign up. Maybe. It's hard to say.
Kalyn, I was thinking of you the other day. I was talking to someone who had some insight into luxury consignment shops and how much money they can generate. And I got the sense that if you and I were to start a luxury consignment shop, we might be able to take home $300K a year after all the expenses. And that's with us paying people to work the shop.
Wow. Yeah.
That's a lot.
You in?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Is the dopamine hit from buying a luxury bag that potent that you just...
So like, not for me. Like,
Andrea, is the dopamine hit from buying a luxury bag potent?
I don't know. It's a fleeting feeling. Like, it doesn't last long.
Which is why you need another bag after that.
Right.
There's certainly some that I can't like really wrap my head around at all. Like, I don't know when I'm rich enough to own one of these Birkin bags that are $30,000 to $50,000. I'm also not very nice to my bags. I want to just throw it on the pavement or whatever. And so like, you're never going to do that with the $50,000 Birkin bag unless you're like Molly rich. I remember specifically, she went and bought a sweater one day at Saks. I think it was like $2,500. And then she'd just gotten a kitten, and like within 3 or 4 hours, the kitten had clawed this thing to shreds, and she was just like, "Oh well, who cares?" Just it did not matter. She was like, "That's what happens with kittens," you know. And I'm like, what? Like, you know, I was like, "That's like my monthly salary at that time." I've such a hard time, especially now with all the Goodwill shopping I've done. Like, it's really, really hard to spend the money on the fancy stuff, especially when I know I can find it at Goodwill almost as good.
Tell me about that bag, Kalyn, you found that time, that man's...
the luggage that I found.
Yeah.
It was marked at $15. I'd never heard of the brand before, but like,
But you could tell.
But yeah, I was like, this is a really nice leather. You just could tell it has the right feel, whatever, all the hardware is nice. I mean, it was in perfect condition. Yeah. And I sold
so
that.
Brand new, that was what? How much was that brand new?
So brand new, I think it was $2,500 or something like that.
And I sold it for
$950.
Sweet.
The thing that's crazy about those suitcases, especially after I like, you know, I'd done some research, it turns out that like, apparently the guys don't like it when it looks new. They want it to look like it's been through the ringer,
Some
whatever.
provenance to it.
Yes, exactly. I'm like, so even better. Like all these scuffs that this thing has, I'd need to not worry about it.
Because then they can say, like, not only am I rich enough to buy this bag, I'm rich enough to like fuck it up and still carry it around.
Right, yeah, yeah. And like the trump card on top of that is the guy who's like, hey, I bought this bag, now I've used it 3 times, and then fuck it, I'll donate it to Goodwill. I'll just go buy another one or whatever.
I'm a wasteful motherfucker. Look at me. Ladies, line up.
So guys, I've been thinking again, remember when I was on a super minimalist kick?
We do remember minimalist. You're not a minimalist anymore?
I mean, I haven't gone crazy, but I think this house that we moved into is a little too much, Robert.
Oh, wow.
I think we need to make our life smaller.
Move into a tiny home.
I don't think a tiny home would accommodate our children coming home to visit.
No.
But
I mean,
you know, a bungalow
or more than one person.
Right. I
don't
need
know.
enough space for
If
Kalyn to visit. That's my headspace right now, is feeling pressure to downsize.
But there's still a lot of expenses associated with moving.
Well,
like, you know,
One
get the-
time, not really.
One
Not-
time. This is only one. This one time of moving is only one time, but this will be the 5th time of
But-
moving in the past 15
Yeah, but
years.
compared to like if we can save $2,000 a month on our mortgage and taxes.
I'm still passing because I
mean-
can't do it. The scars
Yeah, I mean,
are
Robert
still...
barely lived in the Houston house.
No, the real killer was just the last house, which we did so much work, including a lot of my own physical labor to fix up. But then move day itself, they quoted 4 guys in 2 trucks. They sent 3 guys in 1 truck. And one of the guys went home at lunch. It was a brutal.
I had one
hard.
friend who had he had like it wasn't a movers, but was having like a large piece of furniture delivered. And they had the guys in the truck. This is probably a 4-man item to move. And one of the guys had a broken arm. They showed up with 2 guys, one had a broken arm, and the other one was like, I don't really usually do the moving, I just do the driving kind of guy. And it was like, well, so what's the plan here? I've got to call my friends to come over and help us unload this thing? Like, I paid for delivery. So at least your mover didn't have a broken arm.
No, he just went home at lunch when we were not even close to half done. And like, I'm busy hauling stuff off this truck late into the evening, you know?
Yeah, it was brutal.
So the scars are deep from that. And it's just like, I don't know enough. I just don't want to move. I don't ever want to move.
Okay.
Yeah.
New topic.
Yeah. So I don't know if we want to do scam of the week.
Oh, yeah,
Of
let's
course we
hear
want to
it.
hear a scam of the week.
So this is the Hot Lotto fraud. Basically, in 2010, there was a Iowa lottery that was $16 million and it went unclaimed for like over a year, right? They were trying to figure out who won this thing. They finally released surveillance video, and it turns out that the guy who was buying the ticket was a guy who worked at the Lottery Commission. He was an information security director. And as he wrote the code for the random number generator, I want in on this scam bad because I've been trying to crack the code of this random numbers of the Mega Millions. But anyway, so this guy, he'd been giving friends and family, he picked 3 days a year. If the drawing was after 8 p.m. and if it was on a Wednesday or a Sunday, then these certain numbers would come up, right? So it's pretty rare, but he would know well enough in advance. And it was like, hey, Robert, take these numbers, go to the store, buy the ticket, give me 10% back, whatever.
Wow.
And he did this over and over and over and over again. He's confessed to 7 or 8 times that it happened. He was convicted of a couple of counts of fraud. He served 5. They ordered him to pay $3.1 million in restitution. He's paid back $1,225. That's it.
How come?
Yeah, where does the rest go?
Yeah.
No, he doesn't. He's not going to pay it. He transferred all of his money over to his mom.
They can't go get it just because his mom has it?
I guess not. As of today, nobody's actively pursuing it. The way that he got caught,
Yeah.
they showed the CCTV video, and his coworkers were like, oh, that's clearly Eddie. I can tell. And he's not even supposed to be buying tickets. So
You're supposed to send a beard, dummy.
Yeah, he messed up big time. Hell yeah.
So you don't want to be in on this scam. You want to be in on being this scammer's mother.
Friend. All these friends who won, did the money get taken away?
No. One of them was a girl that he went on 2 dates with. And he was like, here you go. Best of
Wow.
luck to you. Yeah. And I'm like,
Yeah.
how do I meet this guy? Also, like, man, how many millions of dollars would you need to spend 5 years in jail?
Hmm.
I mean, for me, it's like 1. Fuck it. I could do okay in jail.
I have to admit, remember that show, Orange is the New Black? I mean, it's a while ago now. But like that show made me think about selling drugs and the upside of the cash from it and how many good times with drug money you'd be willing to have if you only had to serve a couple of years. I don't know. It's a fun lifestyle. Not doing the drugs, having the money from selling the drugs.
Probably just doing the drugs is also fun.
There's lots of Gucci's in that life.
I'm betting women's prison is less downside than men's prison in this regard.
Right,
So-
exactly.
I actually read something. I read that there's like an enormous number of like, granted less physical assault situations, but like oddly you would think there would not be so much sexual assault or rape going down.
Yeah.
I would think
women's prison.
Correct, but this is not the case. It's like roughly even. And I'm like, how does this work exactly? I just don't know who's getting what out of what. With
Right,
women's prison. Like,
it's a bit of a
I'm
mind
honest,
bender.
Like, you're like, do this now or something. I don't know. Whatever. Like,
Tie her down.
Yeah, but then why?
All right. I don't want to hear anymore. I want to have my little dream of selling drugs. Going to prison might not be so bad. All right.
I mean,
The
that's
rape
why-
part is
right.
low on the list of things you want to.
Yeah.
Speaking of prison, you probably saw this, but thinking back to one of our episodes a long time ago, and that podcast you were talking about with the Serial podcast.
Serial,
Did you see this? That they freed the guy in this podcast we listened to, had gone to jail for, I want to say 25 years for the
murder of his high school girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And they freed him. And now Maryland overturned the hearing to free him. Can you imagine this, though?
Right.
You go to jail for all this
It's like
time, crime you didn't commit. They let you out. And then they're like, nope, you're going back. Like, oh, my God.
I think it's just devastating to hear. Like, I don't even know how we begin to compensate someone when, like, they've had 10
Swaths
years,
of their
20
life.
years. Yeah, I mean, that's like all of my 40s, say, taken away.
There you go. That could be the very deal you were talking about. Like, you get wrongfully arrested, go away for 10 years.
Done.
Listen, state of Texas.
I've got no expenses. I've got no expenses that whole time. I'm going to see if I can start dealing some drugs.
You got to go to the Texas Attorney General or like prosecutors or something and be like, listen, you got any cases you need to peg on somebody wrongfully convicted? I'm your girl. I'll go away for 5 years right now for $1 million at the end.
Yeah.
They'll be like, take that deal because they want to get that conviction rate up, baby. Like, I'll plead guilty.
And they're not the ones paying the money later.
Right. That's the taxpayers. That's just right back on us.
Usually those guys are gone.
So you bribe them.
Yeah, give them 10%. This could come full circle to this lotto. We could have the hot conviction scam.
Yeah.
I feel like these wrongful convictions, like I'm reading about these like once a month too. They're like happening all the time. This guy in Kentucky went away for 17 years, crime he didn't commit. This person in Louisiana, 12 years, they didn't commit.
I just heard about a guy getting freed after something like 50 years. I would come out and I'd be like, fuck you, like, but he was just like, these things happen kind of thing. And I'm like, man, maybe this is like old man energy I don't get.
That's exactly how Andrea Kimmel would act if you let her out of jail after 50 years.
100%. She wouldn't even sue. She'd be like, the system works most of the time.
And
I'd be like, but not this time. When you are in jail. She'd be like,
She won't even send back burned food at the restaurant. You're like, Mom, they burned the food. Send it back.
She wouldn't even tell the wallpaper people to not put the wrong wallpaper on the wall after she knew it was the wrong wallpaper. I mean, and then she hated it.
You get wired like that. I don't know. I am like just 110% in the other direction.
She's just uber duper accommodating all the time to everybody, to the point where I'm like, no, she doesn't want to inconvenience the wallpaper guys, even though it's totally
their fault.
Yeah.
And the wrong
Saint Georgia.
St. Georgia. Okay, interesting. So we'll segue from that. Friend of the show, Kelly Whitmore, sent us this investment opportunity. Pine Lawn Cemetery, which is this place outside of New York City. It is the largest non-military cemetery in the United States. So a lot of these cemeteries sold land share certificates. It's equivalent to stocks or whatever, but they sold these shares like in 1914 or something like that, right? So this one family owns the majority of these shares. And there's still, this article talks about these guys are basically doing all sorts of, scamish type stuff here. Like the shares that people own who are deceased, they're not appropriately accounting for. They've taken a piece of the land. This land is supposed to be preserved for cemetery use forever. Well, they've leased a patch of it to a golf course. The golf course is owned by the family. And so they lease it at these non-market rates. So these land shares certificates trade. You can go look up this PLWN and you can invest in these land share certificates. And the investment thesis here is that someday they're going to figure out that this family has been scamming these other investors and they're going to get retribution back to these investors. Anyway, so it's a kooky, weird, like lottery ticket,
Fun to consider. I mean, I feel like the whole funeral, I don't know what you guys want to happen with you after you depart this earth. Hopefully that never happens. But with me, I'm like, throw me in the fucking river, whatever. Like, if I'm useful to anybody in any way at all, like if scientists are like, I wonder what happens if we like have a human halfway eaten by ants and then have a lizard come in, whatever, like let them do that. I don't care.
Okay.
Like that's totally
all right.
fine.
Well, make sure this is in writing. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, listen, if you want to entrust us with an absolutely amazing postmortem send off, we will make it happen.
So my ideal would be to be taxidermied.
Okay.
So I could be like, or something.
Yeah.
For the funsies. But if not that, then certainly cut off my head and have everyone pass it around while they talk about me at the funeral. Or if you could have me articulated, like have my skeleton articulated in like a fun pose. That would be cool. I want to be a piece of art on your wall.
Oh, wow. Okay.
This is so relevant because just the other day I was thinking about, you remember there was those bodies exhibits and bodies too and whatever. Yeah. And you go to Las Vegas and you'd see these bodies and like you said, they've taken all the skin off and they've cut flaps out of the face and whatever. And I was thinking about, these are clearly like, they're from China. These are poor bastards from China, poor families. And there's some office complex somewhere, like an industrial parkway in suburban China, where they're like dipping these bodies in resin or something like that, making these things and then shipping them to the US. And I just think
people are just disappearing.
I think it's just sketchy as hell. Yeah, but there's a billion people. So if 5 of them go missing and become bodies in Las Vegas, then nobody's gonna know. But
what do they say? Where do they say these bodies came from?
So
donated to science.
So they're donated to science, but like that's like super. I watched something about that. Like that bodies exhibit is like best case scenario of if you could donate your body to science. Pretty much most of the time,
in China?
Like often it's here. I saw they had like a video where it's basically a guy who's has like a room rented at the hotel, like a conference room at the hotel, and he's like, we're gonna do some science, guys, and has like a cadaver there, and just people can pay tickets to like come see a person being cut up, right? Like that's also donating your body to science. But
I always pictured I'd be in a gross anatomy class or something in med school.
Like some hungover med student who's like, let's see what's going on in here. Throw up in my abdomen.
At least in that case, you're contributing to making that person into someday a hungover doctor. So
yeah, that's true. That fits. And then with the scientists figuring out what happens with ants and lizards and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Personally, I like the skeleton hanging on my wall.
Yeah. I'm into that too.
Where did you get this? Oh, it's my sister.
So that's like actually really hard to make happen though, because because
they have laws
it's
and all
it's illegal. Yeah, if that's not for a scientific purpose, but damn legislation's always confining us, whatever. Damn the man.
You know who's got a really rough body that has donated his body to our pleasure? The 5-pound gummy bear.
That's right.
We need a 5-pound gummy bear update.
Yeah, we do. The fun never ends. So, where shall we go today?
How about his foot? How are his feet doing?
We're reaching the point with this that the obvious extremities are waning, and you got to just take chunks out of.
Yeah, go for his ass.
This is tying back to the prison theme, eh, Andrea?
Yeah.
This is what it's like if you go to a women's prison and you're a 5-pound gummy bear.
Yeah.
Got the scale?
Yeah, the scale.
Oh.
So now it says,
chewing is easier said than done here.
Yeah. Now it's 4 pounds, 12 ounces, 12.2. I don't know, 12.2 or 3. It's changing so quick. It's like guy moves around.
He's not made to be weighed on that scale. That
he's not made to be weighed.
What?
He's meant to just live his life in the body.
He can't go on his back. Can't go on his back.
Well, it's like it doesn't really fit.
Oh.
You know? So it like hangs off. So I feel like it messes with.
No,
no.
So I try to just.
That wouldn't affect.
Just have him on like this, and like then you're like.
That doesn't affect the weight. Put him on his back.
But he's hanging off. It says less.
Because your finger was.
Yeah, you weren't getting a proper weight.
Like I wasn't putting my weight. I was going like this. Okay, let's see if I get.
There's a scientific.
I was going like this, like.
Conservation of gravity. No, I made that up. Yeah. No, the force has to go somewhere. Do you think it's the air under the?
Okay. Look. Okay.
A lot of people step on scales and stuff hangs out over the scale.
Yeah, it doesn't change anything. Still weighs the same.
Over the scale, if I lay down on my scale with just my ass on my scale and my head off the scale,
yeah,
you think it's gonna stay the same as if I'm standing on the scale like a proper?
Listen, as long as you're not.
I'm about to go do this right now.
As long as you're not putting arms, legs, or heads on the ground. As long as nothing else absorbs the weight.
That's what I'm saying. He's too big. He lays on the ground. Okay, so now it says 11 and a half. Maybe 12. I don't know. It goes back and forth. It changes all the time when he just shifts his weight around when I'm not even touching him. It just changes.
He needs to comply.
I'm telling you.
You're a non-compliant 5-pound gummy bear.
Yeah.
Get it together, bear.
The problem is he's too gummy. We need a less gummy bear.
I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll just make him sit like in a.
Or if you had a basket and you knew the weight of the basket and you put him in the basket.
Yeah, no, I can do that tower thing or whatever.
Tear.
Whatever.
It's been a while since the science classes around here, hasn't it?
I mean, it looks like tar.
Yeah, it's tear though. There's an E.
I'm so dumb. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Tear weight.
T-A-R-E. Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't recall that.
Didn't take the hard sciences and.
No.
See.
Yeah.
On this scale.
Uh-huh.
Tear.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Tear.
Yeah.
That means
I missed that lesson.
Means to ignore the weight of the container.
I was dreaming of Gucci bags.
Yes. Well, you could you could make the Gucci bag the tear, and then.
This isn't really a solid thing. Okay, I'm gonna try it with the bag. So I think it needs to be. This is quite a. God damn it!
You need like a bowl, just like a mixing bowl.
Yeah. I mean, I have his plate, but I think it's too heavy for this plate. Is maybe too heavy for the scale. There's like a limit to how much I can put on this scale. I can't see it.
This is the best gummy bear segment we've done.
All right, I just pressed tar, whatever. I'm gonna have to take a picture with my phone because I can't, or I need the flash at least.
So when you press tear or tar, whichever it is, it goes back to 0.
Yeah, with the thing.
Yeah.
With,
it makes
sure.
Yeah,
Sorry.
like with the. I mean, this is like a kitchen scale, so it's really nice when you're like, oh, I need to have like, I don't know, if you got some annoying ass recipe that's like, put in 30 grams of flour and 15 grams of sugar or whatever. Like, what the fuck? How many tablespoons is it? Yeah, so this is 12.2. 12.2 ounces. 4
okay.
pounds, 12.2 ounces.
Nice.
All right.
Which
That's
I
our-
think is what I said when I was standing up.
That's our new methodology for weighing this bear.
Right.
Is to you might get a different plate, but anyway. Yeah, you know
Well,
what the
yeah.
you know they have a term for those annoying recipes that use the grams and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's called
British.
European. Yeah.
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 You know why? Finland. That's what they do in Finland.
Because this freaking Finnish people, they would do that shit. Got nothing to do but like sit around being like, oh, let's not put it in a bowl and like have these unified size cups that we all let's just weigh it. Fucking Finns.
All right. Do you have a podcast recommendation of the week, Andrea?
Ooh.
No.
I have a new podcast that I just started listening to.
Nice.
That's relevant to us. It's called Scamfluencers. I've only downloaded a few of them, but the ones that I was listening to were about Martin Shkreli, that guy, that douchey dude who like raised the prices of all that pharmaceutical stuff and wanted to fight Wu-Tang Clan or something. I don't know. That like
This isn't ringing any bells. It just sounds.
No?
That was a random string of words for me.
You'll definitely know what I'm talking about. I think it was with EpiPens that he like skyrocketed the price, right? Martin Shkreli. I bet his first S name. No, Martin Sheen, Scorsese.
Yeah,
Scorsese
the world is full of
filmography.
Martin.
Now Martin Shkreli. This guy.
He does look scammy.
Yeah, he was convicted of financial crimes. Served 7. He was known as Pharma Bro for his management of Daraprim, a toxoplasmosis drug. Anyway, so they talk about all kinds of scams and stuff that were influential.
This podcast sounds like a great source material for your scam of the week. So
Yeah.
Awesome. I had one more potential investment for your consideration. So from many episodes ago, Kalyn's had this real interest in IPOs, in initial public offerings. And I heard about this ETF, and the ticker symbol is IPO.
Oh, man.
You can go on the exchange right now and buy IPO, and they basically invest in every IPO that comes down the line.
Oh.
I think they hang on to them for 3 years. And there's their performance. Those it goes up and to the right. I mean, that's up 20%. I mean, eyeballing it, it looks like it's up 20% from.
Ooh, that's no bueno.
The 3 years down.
That's no good.
40%. Yeah, it's no good all time.
Well, yeah.
So if you started this in 2014.
They had a rough little. Yeah. 2021 and 22 are looking. I'm super in.
Well, they're due, aren't they? Right? Should we invest in them because they're due?
Yeah, exactly. Totally do.
All right.
Like going. It's going back up. Who cares?
More in
what happened
Starbucks,
before?
please.
All right, Starbucks or IPO or Pine Lawn Cemetery. Those are our candidate investments this week.
Oh, I mean, we
right.
could do two. That could be our new thing. Is that our guests get to like have us buy a stock? Maybe we should have a separate portfolio for like.
Let's see how the guests are doing.
Yeah,
I like that. The guest portfolio. Okay. All right. So our initial investment in the guest portfolio is Starbucks, and and we'll go with we'll do the IPO.
Yeah. IPO for sure.
All right. $1,000 of funny money into each of those portfolios.
Nice.
One thing we've learned from our guests is they are not understanding this portfolio thing at all. Like,
I get it.
Where the money comes from.
It's not real money.
Yeah, and that we make more real money
every week. Yep,
and,
I'm there. It's the best way to do it. I mean, if it's not real, you might as well be abundant.
Yeah, I don't know why we're making $1,000 investments. We should be making $1 million investments.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have any other agenda items?
Oh, I did. Yeah. Well, the thing that Dad mentioned on the phone about his car looking like a Porsche, I cannot even deal with it. Like, he mentions that shit all the fucking time. He's so proud of the fact that somebody one time thought his car looked like a Porsche. Like, it is out. I'm like, why didn't you just get a Porsche? If apparently that's what you want so bad. He's like, you know what people keep saying to me? They ask me for a Porsche. And I'm like, do they really? Or can they not read? Because they're like, it says it's a Hyundai or whatever. Or whatever kind of car it is.
I see the resemblance to a Porsche.
Hell yeah. Let's see. I'll bring this up for our
but
viewers.
listen, this.
What's he got, an Ioniq 5? Or an 11.
6,
I
I
don't know what
thought.
he's got. He fucking loves it. I mean, sure.
Oh, look, Porsche inspired. Yeah, people are talking about this.
Yeah. I mean, it vaguely looks like a Porsche.
Oh, but
Like
listen,
sure.
hold on.
Sure.
It all makes sense, Kalyn. It all makes sense, right? So how much time did we spend today talking about how your parents raised you guys in a, kind of penny pinching, whatever? The man's got himself convinced that his Hyundai looks like a Porsche. I mean, this all makes sense. I'm going to start to convince myself that my Calvin Klein looks like a Gucci, and I'll be happier.
He's got all the Porsche pleasure at Hyundai prices. Andre, I think you just did an awesome job putting a bow on the entire episode. With that, I think, Kalyn, we cue the music. Stop sharing this stupid screen with Porsches on it. You have been listening to Robert and Kalyn Get Rich. I'm Robert Kimmel, your host. This is Kalyn Kimmel, your co-host. We want to thank our amazing guest today, Her Majesty the Queen, Andrea Kimmel. We want to thank our gummy bear for dedicating his carcass to science. Won't you please rate this show positively if you don't mind? Also, if you'll like us and subscribe us, send us an email, robertandkalyngetrich@gmail.com. Kalyn is how you spell Kalyn. Maybe you have an idea for guest suggestions, terrible investments we could make that can't come close to beating the S&P 500, or maybe you have one for the guest portfolio and they can beat it. What else should we remember here, Kalyn?
This was not financial advice by Mexican prayer candles. Send this to all of your friends and family. It is a certain way to get a promotion or win the lottery.
Well, scams are the certain way to win the lottery, so make sure you do that, and don't worry so much about the promotion. Andre, any final words of wisdom?
Don't buy the Gucci.
Don't buy the Gucci. Buy the thing that looks like the Gucci. Be like our dad. Buy the thing that looks like the thing you want. With that, this has been Robert and Kalyn Get Rich. We are out. See ya.
Deuces.